Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We're talking about Governor's Island.
Uh-huh.
I was on Governor's Island in the 1st Army Band from 1956 to
Hey,
1957.
oh, you're kidding me. You got to speak up a little bit.
It's a wonderful place, man. I kind of hate what's happening, that I like that the city is taking it over, but it's one of the most historical places probably in the United States.
Why is it so historical?
I'm sorry?
Why is it so historical?
Well, I think everybody's hysterical, that hasn't really done the right thing with it. It's probably one of the most extraordinary places I've ever been in my life. And I came to New York City way back then, not knowing anything about New York City, but I was in the band, and it was the swingingest, best band that I ever heard. And a lot of other people, that's when New York was throwing big parties, and there was a parade for everything. And of course, there was a lot of patriotism at that time, considering it was shortly after the Korean War. But I'm as a 74-year-old, I hope that we do well with it, and I hope a lot of people will call in and let you guys know how we feel about it.
Well, let me ask you something. Did you go out there and play the band on the island? Is that what you did?
Did we what, sir?
Did you play, were you in the band on Governor's Island? Did you go out to Governor's Island and play the band? Is that how you know about it so much?
Oh, yeah, I played in the 1st Army Band, which was, one of the great bands in the military at the time.
Well, was it on Governor's Island, though? Is that why you know it? Did you play the band there all the time on Governor's Island?
Yes, it was, Governor's Island back in those days was 1st Army headquarters.
What's a 1st Army headquarters? What's that mean?
1st Army.
Oh, so like is there a 2nd Army?
No, it was 1st Army. 1st Army is the Army at that time. That's this area, New Jersey and New York, and New England and so forth was considered 1st Army, and that's you ever seen the patch that's red and white, and that it just says A on it? That is a 1st Army patch.
Got it.
And then the Coast Guard came shortly after that, when it quit being 1st Army headquarters.
Well, why was it quote unquote abandoned? Why is it now no longer really used by the military?
Well, I mean, it wasn't just it was the Adjutant General, the headquarters of the 1st Army at that time, which there was MPs, and it was just like a regular Army outpost.
How did you get back and forth from Manhattan? Was it like a steamboat or something?
I'm having a bit of difficulty hearing you.
Yeah, sorry, we're a little audio challenged here sometimes, but how did you get back and forth from Manhattan to Governor's Island?
On the Governor's Island ferry.
Oh, what was it? Wooden? Was it cool? Was it metal? Was it cool? It cost a lot of money?
No, it didn't cost us any money because we were in the Army,
Cool.
And it was a great ride. It wasn't a very long ride, certainly, but it was a lot of fun for a lot of the guys. Volunteered to be in the Army for 3 years at that time, which was called regular Army, so that they could be here in New York to play. A lot of musicians were in the studios at that time that were playing a lot of gigs because that was the big jazz, that was the jazz music was the popular music of that time.
Sir, let me ask you something, a question. When you were back then, when you were on Governor's Island and you looked at Manhattan, there was no World Trade Center, right? There was basically the Empire State Building? What was the view?
Man, the Empire State Building was here, certainly. But back in those days, Wall Street, was right there, but Sloppy Louie's was operating along South Ferry. South Ferry isn't what it is today, I can tell you that. But the Fulton Fish Market was happening, and a lot of good restaurants. It was a great place to be, and after hours, so to speak, after business hours, it was very quiet there because Wall Street was buttoned up at that time, you see.
Cool. Well, listen, sir, we really thank you very much. It's very kind of you to share your experience back then with us because, we really treasure the history of Manhattan, and now it's part of us again. So.
Well, I'm very happy to talk to you guys about it. It's a lovely place, and I hope that we New Yorkers do the right thing with it.
Well,
Thank you for your time.
Listen, thank you for your time. This is your show, so you just get the best caller of the show award, sir. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Good night.
Peace, love.